is given by Dr. Laura De Antonis from l'Istituto Zooprofilattico Sperimentale Abruzzo Molise, and I invite her to join me in on the floor here. And the title is SDGs 17 Partnership for Training and Education as a best practice.
Thank you, Professor Pitiak, for giving me the floor. We will share the presentation. Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. Firstly, let me thank all of you for your presence here today, and to greet our from colleagues in particular. I'm here to talk today about the SDG 17, in particular, the importance of networking and partnerships to reach the SDGs, means Sustainable Development Goals. I'm here today also to give you a positive and concrete example of how education and training can play a crucial role in sustainable development. I'm talking about the ERFAN, Enhancing Research for Africa Network, acting as a bridge between Italy and Africa. I think many of you know it. So let's start my presentation. Okay. So there is a widespread consensus on the key role played by education and training to achieve the SDGs. Education and training activities are the main elements to reach the SDGs. Both actions are a cross-cutting means of implementing the SDGs. How? By promoting development knowledge, skills, understanding, values, action, attitude, behaviors required, needed to create a sustainable world. The faculties and academic units play a crucial role in building collective responsibility for sustainable development. Oh, sorry. Also, there is a widespread consensus on the link of education and training with many of SDGs. For example, just to give an example, with the SDGs for inclusive and equitable quality education, with the SDGs 5, gender equality, with SDG 6, clean water and sanitation, with SDG 7, affordable and clean energy, with SDG 8, economic growth, with SDG 11, sustainable cities, sustainable consumption and production, climate action means this is SDG 13, it's very important to tackle the climate change. SDG 14, sustainable use of the oceans, seas and marine resources. SDG 15, sustainable use of terrestrial ecosystems, sustainability of managed forests, and the value in connection with value action or desertification. With SDG This is 17 global partnership as a crucial element of global partnership to reach the SDGs adopted by the Agenda 2030. What I'd like to do today is to give a concrete example of implementing the SDGs through education and training activities, means enhancing research for Africa network. EFAN is a success story in SDG implementation. EFAN realized a strong global partnerships, including African and Italian institutions, in order to put in place research and development actions at global, at national, and at local levels. EFAN is built on the historical partners of the IZS of Teramo within the international scientific cooperation. EFAN is a network between, as anticipated, between African and Italian institutions, aiming at finding innovative and sustainable solutions in agriculture sector. This network represents a common engagement to future sustainability. All of us are responsible for a sustainable future. All partners, from Italian and African sides, are engaged in training, research and development activities in various fields: food safety, food security, also animal and human health, involving, for example, zoonotic diseases and environmental protection. For example, biodiversity. EFAN appears as a strategic platform to build profitable scientific collaboration for both African and Italian institutions in order to obtain continuous and up-to-date knowledge of animal and human health conditions with respect to African and Italian context. The crucial objective is to stimulate the research and development project and also the technology transfer in veterinary fields. Following the One Health approach means taking into consideration the animal health, human health, and environment protection. EFAN was established in 2019 in Teramo during a meeting, an international meeting, and when historical partner of the IZS of Teramo agree on a common action to provide responses to global challenges. Global challenges require global responses, not only at national level, but at global level. The launch of this network was funded by the Italian Republic, and it was supported by the World Organization for Animal Health for 4 years, means until 2020. III. Currently, ERFAN involves 34 partners from 18 countries concerning Northern Africa and Southern Africa. This slide shows all partners in Northern Africa from Algeria, Egypt, Ethiopia, Libya, Morocco, Mauritania, Senegal, Sudan, Tunisia. Concerning Southern Africa, from Angola, Botswana, Mozambique, Namibia, South Africa, Tanzania, Zambia, Zimbabwe. Concerning the Italy partners, we have the Italian Ministry of Health and 5 istituti zooprofilattici and Istituto Superiore di Sanità, based in Rome. The objective of ERFAN, ERFAN has various specific objectives. It identifies Italian and Africa scientific priority in veterinary sciences, improves diagnostic capabilities focusing on the veterinary diagnosis laboratories, supports the Pole of Excellence created as a result of training project funded by the World Organization for Animal Health. Improve the health status of animal population, implementing control, surveillance, prevention of transboundary diseases. Also by improving the animal welfare and foodborne diseases with respect to Africa and Italy. Provides training opportunities by stimulating research and scientific publication. It facilitates technology transfer and innovation. The following point is very important. ERFAN pushes submission of research projects to the international donor. ERFAN works by several working groups. One of the working groups is project design for international development. It's very important to enhance capabilities in terms of writing of research and development projects. We need money. Without money, there aren't activities. Very simple. Encourages information and data sharing through the website, the platform, digital platform. For example, we'll see later in the next slide through the e-learning platform. ERFAN recognizes that training and education play a crucial role in human capacity development. ERFAN pushes for knowledge sharing and organized plans, different training and education programs. Develops cross-cutting competencies in diagnosis, control, surveillance of major animal diseases. This is the more or less the SDGs that ERFAN consider, means 2, 0, hunger, 8, work and economic growth, 30, climate action, 15, life on land. Then we have the 17 global partnership for SDGs. If, for example, just to give an example, in the framework of various action areas of ERFAN, if we consider the animal health, I like to point out the first element means healthy livestock means increased availability of food or animal, means animal original products. This is an important source of essential micronutrients of large part of humanity. With respect to SDG 2. Concerning SDG 2 and 8, healthy livestock are more productive than diseased livestock, and production is exposed to less fluctuations of markets. This gives the individual farmer high and more stable returns in terms of money, means in terms of financial resources. Concerning the SDG 13 and 15, animal health means reducing the use of natural resources and greenhouse gas emission per producing unit of milk, animal product, animal origin products. I would like to, with this slide, to outline some characteristics for the successful implementation of SDGs and action carried out by this network. Firstly, the interdisciplinary and holistic approach outlined by ERFAN. The second point is ERFAN pushes to build common strategy, common values, common behaviors, common principles needed to reach the SDGs. It promoted also critical thinking, means problem solving and action to develop, to meet the global challenges in terms in the agriculture sector. The next point, ERFAN looks to the future, ensuring that various actions have a long-term perspective. ERFAN recognizes the interdependence between people, means adopt the approach named global, means in connection, aims to connect the global perspective with local perspective. ERFAN works through 3 pillars. Pillar 1 means improving diagnostic capacities through network activities, means Pillar 1 means networking activities. Pillar 2, capacity building through training and technology transfer. Pillar 3, capacity building through research program. Pillar 2, training. Pillar 3, education. This is. I would like to focus on Pillar 2, means capacity building through training. Okay. ERFAN organized various training courses and information days named Dialogue, means ERFAN Dialogue. These slides show in number training courses organized, scientific topics covered, training days organized, and also this slide gives you an idea on number of participants and countries involved. This slide shows the topics covered. I go very fast on this point. This is the e-learning platform of ERFAN, including all training and education opportunities. I like to focus on training on the job, pillar 2. I like to show 2 examples of successful training on the job training between Italy and Tunisia, organized in June 2022 with Tunisia, IZS of Turin, and also Istituto Superiore di Sanità in Rome. This is the proof of the training on the job with the colleague from Tunisia working on TSC at the Department of Nutrition and Food Safety and Veterinary Public Health. This is the témoignage from our colleague from Tunisia. The second program, exchange program, is between Italy and Ethiopia in July 2022. The institutions involved are Animal Health Institute and IZS of Naples. The colleague from Ethiopia worked on bovine tuberculosis. This is the opinion, suggestion from our colleague from Ethiopia. The IZS in general, but I go fast on these photos. We are right on focus on pillar 3, means education. ERFAN sponsorized various research programs concerning Zambia, concerning Southern Africa in collaboration with many universities, African and Italian university, also concerning Tanzania, concerning Ethiopia. Then I would like to outline this point. Means if education and exchange program are key elements in order to achieve the SDGs, if cooperation means to share information, data, knowledge, skills, also facilities, if cooperation and scientific collaboration require common commitment, then I would like be a good idea to establish a network between research institute and university in North African context, but also in Italy, to enhance the cooperation in training and education program. You see, the crucial objective of this meeting is to define a common plan in terms of training and education to achieve SDGs. New alliance ideas. It is very important between academic and research institutions. I mean to have a common education program, facilitate exchange between students, Professor Paula, and also to link practice and theory, to enhance the direct engagement in SDGs agenda. All of us are responsible to achieve SDGs, to strengthen South-South cooperation between Northern Africa and Southern Africa. The University of Pretoria launched the SDGs South Africa, means a national network for United Nations Sustainable Development Solution Network. This is a good idea in order to engage in implementing SDGs. So the floor is yours. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much, Laura. Really interesting case study. This network highly focused on research aspects in food safety and One Health. I mean, a more large approach on looking at the Sustainable Development Goals. And now is the time of our next speaker this afternoon. Is Miss Feline Wheeling from UniDroit. She is online, and this means that she will introduce herself via Zoom. And her talk is titled Promoting Sustainability Through Private Law, Current UniDroit Projects. Feline, the floor is yours. The video is yours this afternoon.
Thank you very much, Paola. Yes, my name is Feline Wheeling. I am a legal officer with UniDroit, the International Institute for the Unification of Private Law, based in Rome. Good afternoon, everyone. It is a pleasure to contribute to this conference, even though virtually. And please let me share my screen to show the presentation. So during my presentation, we will look at how UniDroit's work in private law can promote sustainability and contribute to achieving the SDGs. Regarding the outline for today's presentation, I will briefly introduce UniDroit's areas of work and the SDGs, to then focus on two areas of work, agriculture and secure transactions, and how they relate to the SDGs. And finally, we will look at the proposed new work program for the Institute for the period 2023 to 2025. So starting with UniDroit's working areas, you can see all current work streams on the slide. We have projects in the area of private law and agricultural development, civil procedure, cultural property, technology, capital markets, contracts, secure transactions, and always, of course, focusing on the private law side, which is in line with our mandate to study needs and develop methods for harmonizing and unifying private and in particular commercial law as between states. So let's briefly recall all SDGs, the 7 SDGs that were also already partly showed by the previous speaker. They are admittedly very broadly framed, but you can already notice that some of them are more relevant to UniDroit's work, in particular those that concern economic activities. And we will look at the projects, the work streams one by one to identify what are the most directly linked SDGs for each one. So turning to UniDroit's work in the area of agricultural development and private law, this is a rather recent work for UniDroit, which started about 10 years ago. The first instrument that was developed in cooperation with FAO and IFAD, so with the United Nations Food and Agriculture Organization and the International Fund for Agricultural Development, was the Legal Guide on Contract Farming, which was approved by all 3 organizations in 2015. And the main purpose of this instrument, and also of the others that you can see on the slide, relates to SDG 2, Zero Hunger. So it relates to improving food security with a particular focus on small and medium-sized farmers, producers. The second instrument that, but let's look at one instrument after the other in more detail when we can also see the slides. So continuing with this legal guide on contract farming, the stated purpose is to enhance knowledge and awareness of the legal regime applicable to contract farming operations. Contract farming means the agricultural production contract at the first stage of the agricultural supply chain, meaning the contract between a farmer and a buyer. And if we want to highlight some of the sustainability impacts that this guide has, we can highlight the increasing agricultural productivity and achieving food security. Related again to SDG 2, enhancing bargaining and livelihood, bargaining power and livelihood conditions for producers, for example, through facilitating access to credits and to markets for farmers that would operate under these contract farming arrangements. And also increasing crop diversification and therefore more biodiversity, which also help to improve fields. So I always highlight the most prominent sustainability impacts, which does not mean, of course, there are other SDGs that are also directly or indirectly impacted, but less prominent than those that we identified on these slides. So the next instrument that was adopted by UNIDROIT and IFED is the Legal Guide on Agricultural Land Investment Contracts, adopted in 2021, with the purpose to provide guidance to improve these contracts and thereby to implement or operationalize international principles, such as those established by the VGGT, which stands for the Voluntary Guidelines on the Responsible Tenure of Land, Fisheries and Forests, that was adopted by the CFS, the World Committee on Food Security. It also implements the CFS-RI, which are the Principles on Responsible Agricultural Investment, and also the UN Guiding Principles on Business and Human Rights, that we will also come to later in a bit more detail. So this guide helps legislators to draft legislation in this field, but also parties designing their contracts. And the sustainability impacts that could be highlighted in this respect is contributing to food security, again, SDG 2, adequate nutrition and the reduction of poverty, there we are in SDG 1. Then promoting these principles and standards that are laid down in the international instruments we refer to under the purpose, which is to secure tenure rights, equitable access to land, for example, and I think even in particular for women, and responsible agricultural investment more generally. So these were the two instruments on agriculture that have already been adopted. There are two others that you saw that are ongoing, so I would not address them separately. But we will move on to UNIDROIT's work in the area of secure transactions. This is a work stream that has been ongoing for a long time, and UNIDROIT is very prominent in this area. So in short, secure transactions is about facilitating access to credit. Secure transactions help enterprises to realize a sustainable economic development. And the instruments that were developed under the auspice of UNIDROIT in this field is the most prominent one, the Convention on International Interests in Mobile Equipment, which helps to access credit for the acquaintance of high value mobile equipment in different sectors. This is one of the most successful international commercial treaties in the history. It has 83 signatory states, and it has been tailor-made to specific sectors where this appear to be very useful. These sectors, aircraft, railway rolling stock, space assets, and construction, agriculture, and mining equipment. So, but there are other instruments that were developed related to secure transactions within VNTOR, which concern financial leasing, factoring, the ongoing model on warehouse receipts, which aims to facilitate access to credits and markets, especially in the agricultural sector, and thus is somehow cross-cutting about both work areas, agriculture and secure transactions. And a new model law on factoring, which is also an ongoing project. And I did not mean to move on. I wanted to address now the SDGs, of course. So access to credit is mentioned in several SDGs. For example, in SDG 1, no poverty. One of the goals is equal rights to economic resources. Then SDG 2, zero hunger, mentions secure and equal access to land connected with agriculture, but also to financial services to achieve food security. SDG 9, industry, innovation, and infrastructure, explicitly mentions access to small-scale industry and other enterprises, in particular in developing countries, to financial services, including affordable credit. So this is really the core of a secure transactions regime. Now, I mentioned the Cape Town Convention and its protocols, the Convention on International Interest in Mobile Equipment, which is called Cape Town Convention. And as this is so important, I wanted to show the different protocols that were developed thereunder and that relate to some stronger, some less strong, to all the SDGs that you can see underneath. So decent SDG 8, decent work and economic growth, is related to all 4 protocols. Industry, innovation, and infrastructure as well. It has a specific focus, probably for railway rolling stock. Responsible consumption and production is certainly more related to the last protocol, the protocol on matters specific to agriculture equipment. And so on. Sustainable cities and communities. This again relates maybe even more to the railway rolling stock, which also has strong implication for SDG 13, climate action. So you can see that they impact on various SDGs. Now let's have a look at the proposed new work program for 2023-2025, where the focus has shifted and the goal of promoting sustainable development has moved into the center of several of the projects that are being proposed by the Governing Council, which is one of the Institute's governing bodies. So 5 projects really have the theme of sustainability at their core. One is legal nature of voluntary carbon credits. Second one is corporate sustainability, due diligence, and global value chains. And I will address these first 2 projects with the next slides in more detail. The other 3 are the development of an agricultural financing guide, so a guide that would explain the different agri-finance instruments and how they can work together in order to really foster access to finance in the agricultural sector. And it will, of course, then build up on the model on warehouse receipts that we saw previously, the legal guide on contract farming, all those that have implications for agri-finance. Then a project on global value chains more broadly, concerning the government issues, and which takes account in particular the increasing digitalization along value chains, more generally, not limited to agriculture. And the last one, projects proposed to work on access to justice and environmental matters, which then has SDG 13 somehow out at its core. So two proposals were directly proposed with a view to incorporating sustainable development within the work program, and they have been proposed with the highest priority with regard to the other projects, which does not reflect the internal priority ranking, but if you relate them to the priority proposed for other projects. So the first one is the legal nature of carbon credits. The aim of the proposed instrument is to provide a strong legal foundation and certainty on investment and transaction on complex assets as carbon credits. So carbon credits are certificates that are emitted in exchange of a lower carbon production. And this instrument could contribute to better functioning of carbon credits, carbon emissions, and also an increase of capital flow to emerging markets, because those can exchange or sell carbon credits and so finance other green projects when they don't need these carbon credits. The second project that was somewhat at the center was the proposal to work on corporate sustainability due diligence in global value chains. Again, not limited to agricultural value chains, but in general, all sectors should be covered. The purpose would be to contribute to harmonizing, from a private law perspective, sustainability supply chain due diligence that companies can undertake voluntarily, or where there is a legal framework in place, such as in a number of EU countries, also there is a regional framework at EU level under discussion, then to implement these mandatory legislative requirements. And among the potential sustainability impacts are to protect weak participants of value chains, ensure the respect of internationally recognized human rights and environmental standards. These are two sets of standards that are really at the core of corporate sustainability. So the environmental protection perspective is also very pronounced in this proposal. And this already brings me to the end of my presentation. I am happy to take any questions you may have. Thank you very much for your attention.
Yes, thank you very much, Philin. Very interesting also your, let's say, best practices projects which are related more on the legal aspects, supporting sustainability actions on developing sustainable development of our society, especially the enterprises, the supply chains, and so on. And with the organizers also, we agreed that the discussion is skipped at meeting for this thematic session, but if there is any specific question to the talk of Philin, we collect it now. Otherwise, we skip and we start immediately the thematic session 3. Okay, then, so let's move on to the next thematic session, and I invite here the chairperson, Espera Dunovossi, to take my place and role in this afternoon.
Thank you, Prof. Pitya. Thanks so much, colleagues and partners. We go forward to the next discussion, and from there on, we will find the time of discussing with different people and taking questions. So we're going to around the capacity building towards agricultural sustainability, and from Dr. Philin's presentation to this particular roundtable discussion is a fit. So maybe it's also for us a platform to engage with what has been said before, and also trying to answer some pending issues that we are having. So this will be, I will call Massimo. I don't know if yes, Massimo's colleague is here. So Dr. Laura, the floor is yours again. Yeah.
Yes, Espera, if you agree, I like to ask our fun colleague to join me in on this table. If you agree.
So les amis
Do you agree?
de Mauritanie,
Okay.
Tunisie, Maroc, vous êtes invités à la table.
Oui.
Donc, on va essayer de combiner les deux.
20 minutes of discussion. Sudan, Mauritanie, Égypte, Libye, Tunisie, Algérie.
Sudan, Mauritanie, Tunisia, Égypte, Algeria, Tunisia. Là, you'll be here.
Okay. Yes.
Les maladies, je viens de citer, et qui posent de gros problèmes dans nos pays, comme la brucellose, comme la tuberculose, comme le charbon bactérien et bien d'autres maladies. Alors, l'Italie possède des labos de référence OIE, donc ce serait bien que les laboratoires de référence puissent aider donc nos laboratoires à prendre en charge les côtés qu'on ne sait pas, parce qu'on fait beaucoup de choses, et les côtés qui sont plus, des diagnostics plus poussés par ces laboratoires de référence, et particulièrement des formations techniques du corps technique de ces laboratoires-là. Voilà, moi c'est ce que je vois, ce qu'on peut faire avec AirFan, c'est-à-dire c'est du donnant-donnant, c'est-à-dire qu'on a besoin de ces laboratoires de référence pour pouvoir travailler ensemble à l'avenir. Voilà, c'est ce que j'ai à dire. Voilà, si
Okay. Je peux faire
voilà, immédiatement
poser
après,
une question. De votre côté, quel est le problème que vous avez rencontré dans le domaine de la coopération scientifique entre l'Italie, l'Union européenne, maintenant l'Algérie, par exemple?
Bon, malheureusement, au moment où on devait travailler ensemble, on a eu le Covid.
Ouais.
Malheureusement, on n'a pas pu faire grand-chose. Voilà, c'est-à-dire 2021, 2020 et 2021 étaient catastrophiques pour tout le monde. Que ce soit en Italie, que ce soit en Algérie et d'autres pays. Nos universités étaient fermées, nos laboratoires étaient fermés, et on se battait plus contre la maladie que contre autre chose. Donc, moi, je pense que le départ va être à partir de maintenant. C'est-à-dire, on prend exemple ce qui s'est passé, et donc, comme échange, je vous dis, la première chose, étant donné qu'on est parti du premier temps du principe qu'il y ait des labos de référence OIE en Italie et qui fonctionnent très bien. Donc, c'est cet échange-là sur des maladies bien précises qu'il faut faire, donc peut-être avec les pays maghrébins et les pays africains. C'est un échange mutuel, c'est-à-dire que vous pouvez donc prendre en charge de la formation, prendre en charge du contenu technique et surtout tout ce qui est examen de référence. Voilà. Et c'est comme ça que je vois l'avenir. 2021, c'était catastrophique. Espérons 22, 24, ce serait mieux. Voilà.
Merci. Je demande de prendre la parole. Vous êtes prêts?
Juste,
oui, ça va ça.
Bon, donc, excusez-moi, je vais parler en français. Je suis Imen Walteni, je suis assistante en maladies contagieuses et zooneuses à l'École nationale de médecine vétérinaire de Sidi Febet, et j'occupe actuellement le poste de directrice des études. Je vais rejoindre mon collègue algérien, professeur Nabil, pour dire que les premiers contacts avec le programme ERFAN, c'était dans le cadre de collaborer et de faire des échanges, que ce soit sur le plan humain ou sur le plan expérience. Sauf que ça a été vite stoppé avec le Covid-19, donc on a arrêté et ce n'est qu'actuellement on commence pour le travail sur la brucellose et la tuberculose. Ce travail, c'est très important pour faire des échanges. Nous avons besoin de votre expérience, surtout pour les laboratoires de référence. Moi, personnellement, je travaille sur la tuberculose et j'essaie de mettre en place en Tunisie le test interféron gamma, qui est un test qui demande une technique très spécifique par rapport aux autres tests. Donc, l'expérience italienne nous sera très utile pour mettre en place cette technique. Espérons que les jours à venir seront meilleurs pour un tel échange qui sera bénéfique pour les deux côtés, je pense. Et merci.
Merci beaucoup. Donc, je pense que le défi principal sera dans le prochain futur mettre en place des périodes de formation et d'éducation, donc de réaliser des programmes communs entre l'Italie et les pays de l'Afrique du Nord. Donc, le défi principal sera de l'argent. Trouver les fonds pour le financement des périodes de formation dans le champ. Donc, pas seulement dans la classe. Okay. Please. Yes, your suggestion. Okay.
Actually, the ERFAN presentation and the other presentation about capacity building model and the TRAMO charter.
Please, Maria, can you present yourself?
Okay. My name is
Not
Sahar.
for me, but for...
My name is Sahar. I am working in National Research Center in Egypt. This is the biggest research institute in the Middle East. Can I start?
Yeah.
ERFAN presentation and the other presentation about the capacity building model and the TRAMO charter gives a very good objectives, but still I have to ask about the training course for the young scientists. What is this? How?
Sorry, the training course is for?
Young scientists. Training course.
I mentioned the young.
No, you not mention. You just mention training.
Yes.
The training.
Yeah.
It's a training for the
Postdoctoral. No, also for young, but after the degree. Okay, so postdoctoral programs. Okay.
And the training is online course like
online and in presence also.
And the lab also.
Yeah, yes.
Because
yes.
I would like to make a short training course for the young scientist, 3 weeks, 2 weeks, or maximum 1 month for technology transfer and updating for
this is
the knowledge
good,
and the advantage technology, for example, for disease diagnosis. This field that needs updating always.
Yeah.
Also, I have no idea if you provide the young scientist training for another lab abroad. Do you ask them to contact the lab to give acceptance, to give them the grant?
Yeah.
This is not working because my students still contact with a lot. You can say 29 lab, and most of them not even reply him. They cannot accept him to come to the lab. So I am asking to make an agreement with some lab. This lab abroad accepted to provide the youngest from North of Africa or whatever, but they are agree. So that means you are not lose a time for the young scientists make a contact with other lab without nothing, and also we not lose the grant for them because they cannot this contact.
I know. Thank you for this interesting input, and as secretariat I take note of this suggestion of comments, and I think we're in the medium term program involving young challenges. Okay.
And you even
of course, go ahead.
even you divided the country to North African and South African, but countries, but still each country needs something different than to improve the skills and something like this. For example, in Egypt, we not suffer from equipment. We have equipment, but we cannot establish a good lab for to make an outcome from this lab a valuable research. So we still need how we can establish in the lab, the scientific lab, in proper way to make the outcome from this lab with valuable research. Because of something we make that, but we still something missed. So we stopped at the point in the research. We're not continuous, so we're still in the moderate, not high and not down.
Yeah. Concerning
the training course we need, it's different than it's different from country to country.
Okay. Concerning this point, one objective of the FM is to improve, enhance the South-South cooperation, means between Northern Africa and Southern Africa. And then the second objective, relevant, I think, is to connect the theory with practice, means training courses in classroom on remotely with the practice, means on the job training in the lab. Okay.
The last thing about projects. For example, in Egypt, we not need, we have all the capacity building, but we need small projects just to buy the chemicals for not research. This is, if you're asking for international project, this is difficult, or this is worse of us. So if you make a small project just for chemical and supplies, this will be excellent.
Okay.
Thank you.
I agree totally with you because the big project, research project, European project are very difficult to manage. Okay, to be managed. So within the under the FM framework, the secretariat puts in place the small scale research project. This is a new approach in order to plan small scale, implement small scale actions, for example, baseline studies for small activities in the labs, in order to have data, information, and also reference material production. These activities aim to give a baseline study for a wide, broader project. for 2-3 years, but it's very important to plan small-scale research activities. Okay. Thank you very much for your suggestion. Please, we move on. Next.
Thank you. Je vais parler aussi en français pour enchaîner. Mon nom est Abdelaziz El-Haraifi. Je suis de formation vétérinaire et je suis spécialisé en pharmacopsychologie. Et actuellement, je dirige un institut de formation agriculture supérieure où nous avons, en plus de la formation vétérinaire, nous avons d'autres formations qui sont reliées à l'agriculture, notamment tout ce qui est agronomie. Donc, nous avons une école d'agronomie, école vétérinaire, bien sûr, école de topographie, école d'industrie agroalimentaire et une autre école de génie rural. Donc, toutes ces disciplines sont rassemblées dans la même institution et il y a des interactions, bien sûr, entre ces différentes formations, ne serait-ce que tous les stages et les formations sur le terrain. Et nous avons des formations qui sont en commun et nous privilégions toujours dans cette formation de terrain et qui est très importante pour la formation de nos ingénieurs et de nos vétérinaires. Donc, je remercie, je profite de l'occasion pour remercier les organisateurs pour avoir introduit cette thématique de l'éducation dans ce forum, parce que, comme vous le savez, l'éducation est la base de tout. Donc, de tout développement, on ne peut pas faire de développement sans améliorer l'éducation. Et comme c'est donc une thématique de l'éducation, nous agissons à plusieurs niveaux. Donc, en termes d'éducation, donc de formation initiale et de formation continue. Nous avons déjà des collaborations avec des institutions italiennes dans ce sens, donc, qui concernent principalement la mobilité des étudiants. Nous avons des collaborations avec l'Université de Turin, de Messine, de Bari. Et là, nous avons parfois donc, une double diplomation qui est déjà instaurée avec Bari. Donc, les étudiants poursuivent donc leur cursus au Maroc et terminent ici à Bari avec un master. Et donc, nous avons une double diplomation qui peuvent avoir une double diplomation. Donc, ça, c'est déjà établi. Et puis, nous avons également initié donc, des études doctorales. Donc, nous avons des doctorants qui préparent un PhD et qui peuvent également faire un programme, ce qu'on appelle un programme sandwich. Donc, où une partie se fait au Maroc, une partie se fait ici en Italie. Donc, c'est un programme aussi qui marche bien. En termes de capacité building, nous avons un besoin aussi de capacité building parce que nous sommes dans une phase où il y a un renouvellement important de notre corps d'enseignants, chercheurs, parce que dans la génération passée, donc, on arrive actuellement à un âge de la retraite. Il faut renouveler donc, ce corps professoral et il y a un besoin important de cette capacité building, de ces formations de formateurs. Donc là, on collabore avec différentes institutions de parlement pour essayer d'avoir cette capacité building qui est importante pour nous. En termes toujours de l'éducation, vous avez parlé de Sud-Sud et Sud-Nord, etc. Dans l'institut que je dirige, donc l'Institut agronomique de THEMATIC 2, nous recevons chaque année au moins 10% dont les étudiants sont des étudiants internationaux et qui sont issus la plupart du temps des pays africains. Et jusqu'à présent, nous avons formé à peu près 2000 lauréats issus tous des pays africains et des pays du Moyen-Orient. Et actuellement, donc, il constitue donc un réseau au niveau de l'Afrique et qui permet bien sûr ces échanges et ce travail en commun. En termes, donc aussi, nous travaillons aussi dans le domaine de la recherche, dans des projets de recherche communs, et nous participons dans plusieurs projets européens, tels que le H20, le Prima. Donc, nous sommes impliqués dans plusieurs projets, donc avec des consortiums avec un réseau donc, de pays européens. Et donc, dans ce cas, bien sûr, donc, nous avons une expérience dans ce sens, et c'est quelque chose qui a encouragé, qui a développé pour pouvoir donc, participer dans cet effort de recherche développement. Et puis, en dernier point, nous sommes également, donc j'ai vu que la digitalisation, c'est quelque chose d'important donc, dans des programmes de formation, de recherche. Donc, nous introduisons donc, cet effort de digitalisation à tous les niveaux, au niveau de la formation, donc de la gestion de la formation, et au niveau également de tous les programmes de développement de l'agriculture, parce que nous avons on participe en tant qu'institution de recherche, développement et de formation dans l'accompagnement des stratégies de développement de l'agriculture au niveau du Maroc. Et donc, la digitalisation, c'est quelque chose d'important, et on introduit bien sûr cet effort de digitalisation pour bien sûr promouvoir un peu l'effort aussi bien de formation que de recherche développement, et bien sûr avec l'introduction de nouvelles technologies et tout ce qui va avec cette digitalisation. Donc voilà, donc les besoins sont là, mais nous avons des choses à offrir aussi, et puis on peut bien sûr partager et collaborer dans ce sens à plusieurs niveaux. Merci.
Merci beaucoup pour votre contribution. Permettez-moi de vous poser une question. Vous avez parlé des différents programmes de formation, éducation aussi, des accords. Je pense que vous avez avec la Tunisie, peut-être, mais selon vous, qu'est-ce qu'on peut faire pour établir un réseau? Donc, vous avez parlé de la collaboration entre l'Italie et le Maroc, mais qu'est-ce qu'on peut faire? Quelles sont les actions qu'on peut mettre en place pour établir un réseau avec les pays de l'Afrique du Nord, avec aussi la Mauritanie, mais aussi le Soudan, aussi le Sénégal, peut-être, qui sont partenaires de les femmes. Quelles sont les actions dans l'immédiat qu'on peut mettre en place? Et quelles sont aussi les difficultés que nous allons aborder? Merci.
Eh bien, donc, il y a beaucoup de choses à faire, effectivement. On peut établir, les réseaux existent. C'est pas qu'on ne commence pas de zéro, il y a des réseaux, mais c'est leur fonctionnement, sur leur durabilité qui n'est pas toujours fonctionnelle. C'est pour peut-être des raisons de fonctionnement de ces réseaux. Des fois, ils sont établis avec l'aide d'une organisation internationale.
Ah, ok.
Donc,
voilà.
Ça permet de rassembler un peu les gens, comme l'IFAO par exemple, comme l'UE, etc. Donc, ça, c'est un bon instrument d'associer une organisation internationale dans ce genre de réseau. C'est quelque chose qui donne généralement de bons résultats. Maintenant, nous avons bien sûr des relations bilatérales, que ce soit Maroc, Italie, Maroc, avec les pays voisins. Et les pays, bien sûr, du sud de l'Afrique. Et nous avons déjà essayé aussi quelque chose qu'on appelait les coopérations tripartites, avec un pays européen, le Maroc, et un autre pays, par exemple, quelques pays du sud du Sahara. Et c'est quelque chose aussi qui est important et qui permet donc de faire des formations continues, de travailler dans des projets de recherche communs. Nous avons à peu près les mêmes challenges, les mêmes contraintes, et sur des thématiques qui sont porteuses, soit des maladies qui sont chez tous les pays aussi, qui posent un problème chez tous les pays, soit des problèmes de changement climatique auquel on est confronté. Donc ça peut rassembler et ça peut être une thématique sur laquelle on peut collaborer, bien sûr, dans ce genre de réseau.
Ok. Je pense qu'il est très important de participer aussi à des programmes européens comme le Prima Foundation. Prima Project is very, very important. Yeah. Félicitations. C'est vraiment, vraiment important. Merci, merci beaucoup pour votre contribution. We move next. Tom, colleague from Libya, please.
Yes. My name is Khaldun. I'm the Chancellor of the University of Tripoli. Unfortunately for me, I am not related to the agricultural sector in any way. I'm a geologist. But before I start my communication, I would like to express my profound thanks to the organizers, University of Tehran, and the sponsors, and especially to Dr. Laura de Antonis, whom I have consistently pestered with my emails, and she had to work till the last minute for my visa. Thank you very much again. I am here for the first time, of course. I am here for networking in principle. In the University of Tripoli, we have a successful venture with the UNIMED, Union of Mediterranean Universities. For the past 2 years, we have had a very successful partnership, and it is thriving all the time. Within this partnership, we had so many programs of capacity building, exchange of staff and faculty staff and students. And also we were able to forge 4 master's degrees with Italian universities, namely La Sapienza, is it right? Did I pronounce it right from La Sapienza, yes, Turin, and Pavia. Forget the 4th one. But these programs are working now, and university staff has been sent to Italy for training, and the programs are established and accredited by the accreditation body in Libya as well. Along with some support for some minimal laboratory equipment, especially for the media and communication faculty. I am here today to venture or explore new spheres of collaboration with other universities through other means. And I have noticed today that we should have joined the IHEA a long time ago. It's a very interesting program, for example. And what has been discussed falls within the context of our goals of internationalization. As for the agricultural sector, in the University of Tripoli, we have a very large research station. It's 96 hectares of land with substations reflecting the departments in the Faculty of Agriculture and Faculty of Veterinary Medicine, and it is within campus. Can imagine it's probably 20 times the size of this campus, only the research station for the agriculture faculty. In our research now, I think I have to point out that we are different from our neighboring countries. Egypt, Tunisia, especially Morocco, and probably Algeria are agriculture-based societies. Mauritania, Libya are semi-arid to arid areas, and they have a different way of approaching the agriculture because of scarcity of water. Because of the scarcity of water, Libya has embarked on a very large project of tunneling water, fossil water, groundwater from the south to the north, extend pipes that will carry 6.5 million liters per day, meter cubic per day to the north. This project now is almost on hold because it's only carrying 1.5 million cubic meters for urban use. And the sector, three other quarters are not working now simply because of the civil strife we have undergone in the last 10 years or 12 years. And the civil strife have affected the agricultural sector severely because it's based on imported manpower, mainly from Egypt. Yeah, probably 99% from Egypt. Of course, when you have civil strife and instability, nobody will come to you. It's clear, yes. Sustainability in the agricultural sector is very important for any country, and you can see now how the prices rocketed after the Ukraine problem, Ukraine crisis. And now, if the neighboring countries decide tomorrow to stop exporting their produce to protect the local market, Libya will be in trouble, especially if Tunisia does that. So it's very important for us to revitalize the agricultural economy, the agricultural sector. Of course, this is the problem. It's the problem for the planners and for the government, not for the university. But in our case, I think it is pertinent now that we try to forge new partnerships with European universities to reactivate the research in the agricultural sector. And in our case, probably the trilateral partnership, as my colleague has proposed a few minutes ago, is the right approach, because sub-Saharan countries are of the same situation like Libya, and the technology and know-how in the north, the combination of the three will probably work in the best of interest of everybody. I will not add more. I think I'll leave it to you to steer the discussion, because I told you I'm not related to this line of research. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor. I think to revitalize the agricultural sector, but not only agriculture, all the sector, we need partnership, cross-cutting partnership at geographical level, but also at multidisciplinary level. Okay.
Yes, I learned today that the two of our research staff in Tripoli are having a joint project with the people from Iran here and veterinary medicine. That was a nice thing to know. I think we have to expand that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Professor. We move on. The next colleague.
Okay, thank
from
you very much. I
Mauritania.
will try to talk in English. It is not my essential language, but I would like to share with our colleague from Libya, from Sudan, and also from Egypt, that they cannot talk French. And I would like to take also in Arabic, but I think that we don't have the translation. That's why. Okay. Okay, I am Dalai Jambal Bouyid. I am representing the General Directors of the National Office of Research and Livestock Development in Mauritania. And he has some work in, that's why he cannot assist. The final time. Okay, our office is interested in research and livestock development, especially in animal health and food safety, and also in genetic improvement. And we have a center of camel breeding, which is in collaboration with the FAO. You know, Mauritania is a very wide country in which the desert has 70% in this country in the desert, and only the border with Senegal, about 500 kilometers on the river. This is the agriculture side, and which there the main livestock at the country. But we have a big effective of livestock. We have 1,949,101 of bovine, 11,660,916 of sheep, and 7,772,343 of goats, and 1,500,000 of camels, 500,000 of camels. It is a very big effective of livestock, but unfortunately, it is not very good developed because of breeding, the quality of breeding, and also because of the disease. And the main disease that we confronted every year is Rift Valley fever, and it is the main problem that we have. And this year, and now we are in outbreak of this disease. And as you know, the Rift Valley fever, it began in animal. It is a zoonotic disease. That means that if we detect it in precoce detection, we can stop it to move to the human being. And in this regard, and in the subject of this meeting, we have in proposal of project. The problem that we have is with camels. In small ruminants and bovine, we have some ELISA kits, which is very rapid test, okay, to detect and not very costly test to detect the IgM antibodies. But in camels, we don't have any ELISA kit, any ELISA detection. That means that we go directly to the molecular biology detection, and it is very costly. And this is our proposal to get a project for developing a new ELISA kit for this species of animal. And the other things is, as they told our colleague from Algeria, here in Italy, you have a reference lab, European reference lab for Rift Valley fever. And I think one of your colleagues, Dr. Giovanni Savini, will go to Mauritania next week and be there for this. And it is an important thing to do projects like this. And it is not for Mauritania, it is for all the countries who has camels. There is in Gulf, in Sudan, in Ethiopia, in Somalia, and not only in Libya, in Nigeria, not only for Mauritania. And the training also is a very needed to us because we have a young student who's recruited recently, and we need some training for this. Thank you very much. This is what I would like to.
Thank you very much for your input. So the key words are research and equipment. I think basic technology and also advanced technology as NGS, for example.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much. We move on the final intervention from.
My name is Imam Hamad Al-Masri from Sudan. I would like to thank the director for the invitation, and Laura. She fights a lot to come here, for us to be here. I would like to thank my colleagues from Mauritania and Libya and Egypt for speaking English. Really, I'm not understanding a lot of speech here, and so I'm very sorry if I repeat on this. I'm from Central Veterinary Research Laboratory, Sudan. Established since 1913, and its main mandate is diagnosis, research, and vaccine production. So I think the Laura presentation is covered all the things that we need, but I will add something about short courses for research, yes, and not only for research, but also for the technical staff, which is needs a lot to know about advanced technologies. And I think job training is most valuable to us. Also, I will agree with Dr. Sahar about acceptance of African research. Almost they refuse to be accepted in the university. Our need, I think networking between African countries is very important, but to share information.
Yeah.
Yes. Especially for, as you said, it is one of the objective of ERFAN to increase capability of diagnostic laboratory, and in the area we have a lot of disease, transboundary animal disease, and I think it's very useful to share information. Really have some problem or some need for bioinformatics training, training in implementation of ISO. This is very important for us. Now we are just implementing, and we hope that nearly recently we can, or nearly we can get accredited. I have suggested that each person can establish a journal, online journal, for publishing young researchers.
Yeah.
As you know, the publishing of in any journals, it needs an advanced research, and it needs molecular techniques, and always it's still monitoring surveillance, and it's very difficult to be published in international journal. And I suggest to have a project, and global project, to involve young researchers in a global project is useful. And I think also to increase the competence of young researchers by BTs, by proficiency testing, even interlab between African labs. It will increase the competence of young researchers. And I would like to agree with my colleague from Mauritania in common research. We are facing the same problems as the recent research in Cameroon. We need kids and we need agents, so we collaborate in a project. So EFN will be very
Thank you very much. Some points concerning the accreditation. This is a very important step to enhance the capabilities in diagnosis, in surveillance and control of especially transboundary disease. The second point is, I think before the global project, we need small scale activities, and then the global project. Okay, this is point very important. Then I suggest you the key word is digitalization. Means EFA should be included in your plan in a digital agenda in order to share data, information, and various reports on disease of common interest as transboundary diseases. Okay, all your input will be included in the final statement. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Laura.
This roundtable is finished.
Thank you. Thank you so much for your contribution. Thank you so much for the exciting information about your amazing work. And then very soon we would like the young people to engage with you about which part they play, which role they are really playing in this kind of projects.